Dodger fans can breathe a sigh of relief. They edge the Rockies this afternoon and leave Colorado 4 games up. Phil Wallace joins us. Hey, Phil, how are you?
Doing great, Fred. How are you?
Just fine, thank you. That's the mark of a pretty good ball club, huh? Having to win when they needed to win.
Absolutely. I mean, this was a team a lot of people have been criticizing lately, but let's not lose sight of the fact that they went to Colorado, the hottest team in the National League, one of the toughest places to play in baseball, and they took 2 out of 3 on the road, and if not for a mistake in the first game, they probably could have swept the series. And they also just won 3 out of 4 last weekend against the Cubs. So they had a bit of a rough stretch, but it looks like they're starting to turn things around.
You know, 2 notes about the Dodgers. First, what a sweet victory it was, and what a heartbreaking loss it was. Jim Tracy used to manage the Dodgers, and I'll tell you what, he was not pleased when they let him go. And I remember Frank McCord saying to me, you know, we need a real manager in here. Well, Tracy's done a pretty good job in Colorado. You know he wanted to beat the Dodgers. It was sweet the Dodgers beat him. And on top of that, today Broxton closed and Sherrill set up. So I'm wondering if Joe Torre's going to stick with Broxton now as a closer.
Well, I think Jonathan Broxton is the main closer, but I like what he did on Saturday night and not necessarily was stuck to the traditional idea of having to use 9th inning. He feels Jonathan Broxton is his best reliever, and he used him in the 8th inning against the Cubs' best hitters and played the matchups against the right-handed hitters. And you've got a guy like George Sherrill, and you can use him against some of the best left-handed hitters. For instance, if you're playing against the Phillies in a playoff series, I wouldn't mind having a guy like George Sherrill go out and go up against left-handed hitters like Chase Utley and Ryan Howard.
I think you make a good point. Of course, USC is LA's NFL team, and who's going to play quarterback is always big news down there. Aaron Corp's trying to come back from a broken fibula, but the true freshman, Matt Barkley, has been given the nod. He will start. I wonder if that's a lot to ask of a kid like Barkley, a true freshman.
Well, you know, Pete Carroll knows what he's doing, but it's certainly a move that gives someone pause. You know, Matt Barkley had a tremendous spring. He's had a very good training camp, although he has, you know, suffered, he's thrown a lot of interceptions. He's learned a lot on the job. It's a very interesting move to put him in the position, because if you look at the quarterback race at SC, you've got 3 quarterbacks. You've got Barkley, Aaron Corp, and Mitch Mustaine. And the only one who has any collegiate experience is Mitch Mustaine. And Mitch Mustaine went 8-0 as the starting quarterback in the SEC. Yet here's the freshman, the 18-year-old Matt Barkley, getting the starting job. And, you know, he has shown them a lot. He has a ton of upside. He's got a really strong arm. I just am worried for USC. This is a year where every year they have a chance to win a national title. What kind of point going to have when he has to go to the Horseshoe in Columbus and play in front of 100,000 people? They have to play early road games at Cal. They're going to play on the road at Oregon and some other difficult road games at Notre Dame. We'll be a better team this year. So, you know, Pete Carroll's not going to put him in a position where he'll be set up to fail, and He'll scold him if he tries to do too much. But they like him a lot, and he's very good.
Yeah, Pete Carroll said he is the man. We'll see how long he remains the man if he struggles. Okay, Phil, we got about a minute. Let me get to this. I want to get your thoughts. Michael Vick back on the playing field tonight for the Eagles, 4 of 4, 19 yards passing. He did his time. He certainly has the right to work. If he performs well, I'll bet you people in Philadelphia will be quick to forget. You think people around the country will feel the same way?
I think people are already starting to forget. I think people understand he spent 2 years in jail. He's gone bankrupt. He's lost everything, and he's really shown a great deal of humility, I think, since he's come back. There were minimal protests. The Eagles have been working with animal rights activists. He's been speaking out against dogfighting. And I think this year is sort of a very slow learning year. I don't think you're going to see a whole lot of Michael Vick playing anyway, maybe in a couple of unique situations where they'll have him run the Wildcat or come in for a play or two.
Yeah, what I basically think they did is they signed him, and they signed him for 2 years. So, you know, if he plays well and Donovan McNabb is done this year, then he'll get the job next year. Okay, Phil, nice job. Appreciate you doing this. Thanks.
Thanks a lot, Fred.
All right, take care.